Hello, you've made it to Shack Together, episode 8. Joining us today is Ozzie Mejia, longtime senior editor of shacknews.com. We're happy to have him. Kicking things off, Asif discussed his experience with Splatoon 3 and the Shadow dropped Splatfest. I don't know about Shadow, but with little pomp, it sounds like. We move things over to Retro Bowl, Pocket Card Jockey Ride-On, and of course F099 updates before John talks a little bit more about his Balatro experience. Ozzie clues us into his Visions of Mana and Sandland previews, all before we head into a very fun game entitled Does It Sequel, where I name a game and the crew decides whether it will receive a sequel or sequel announcement in the coming 12 months. Results of this game to follow in 12 months. A very beefy story time is up next, where we cover Marvel Rivals, an Overwatch-like, which is now a new term. Apple's announcement of WWDC 2024, which hits June 10th. 2 unfortunate game delays in GTA 6 and Earthblade, the follow-up from Extremely OK Games, who notably released Celeste in 2018. We cover Stardew Valley and their 1.6 update, F-Zero Maximum Velocity's release on Switch Online, a South Park Snow Day review, a successful Sega of America Workers Union ratification, Take-Two's acquisition of Gearbox Entertainment, and much more. It's a bit of a long one, but we hope you stick with us to the end. Thanks for listening. Enjoy.
That's the sound I was getting out of the Honda Afeela yesterday. It was just like all the spatial audio all around me. I mean, everything but the outside traffic.
Why isn't that thing called the E-Honda?
because they have a deal with Sony, not Capcom.
God, but it's a Honda. It's electric. E-Honda. Frustrating. You could put Honda on the side of it. Also, that front thing. Like, Ozzie, great job filming that stuff yesterday, but like, I would have lost my mind if someone seriously was talking to me about this billboard on the front of my car. Like what?
Oh, I mean, look, I did my best to keep a straight face during a lot of that. But man, some of this stuff is just like, these are features I'm never going to use. I can't ever see it.
Also, how the hell does the face recognition work? Like, was that real?
It was real. And yeah, I made sure to ask about a lot of this stuff. And they basically said they're going to explain privacy and safety settings down the road. They're just focused on the tech demo right now.
The idea, though, of just walking up to your car and like face IDing into it is just so weird. I'm like, that seems like nothing there felt like it was new. It was just like, here's some tech that we're shoving into this car. It's like, okay, like PlayStation Portal, right? That handheld.
Right.
Kind of useful for some people. But what if I told you could play PlayStation 5 remotely using your car's dashboard?
Oh, so much of this stuff is meant for the passenger. And I was just like, isn't this going to be really distracting for the driver? And once again, they're like, we're going to explain safety later.
Yeah, what a thing. They have plenty of time.
I didn't even get the karaoke feature. You can do karaoke in your car. If only this had come along 10 years ago for James Corden.
Oh man, that car is never gonna come out, right?
They seem adamant that it's gonna come out in the next few years.
It looks better than the Cybertruck. I'll give them that.
I saw one of those in the wild yesterday, and it hadn't been washed, and it looked like a dirty pan. Like it looked like my sink.
So it's like, you have to like kind of wear your cooking, materials, like a wok, right? It has like good wear and tear shown on it. So it was looking like that.
Pans robot.
It's like a pots and pans truck.
Basically, yeah. And like, I know any car looks ugly when you don't wash it, but this thing, like, oh my God, it looks like half rusted over. It looks filthy when you don't keep it washed.
I saw a picture when they put a KitchenAid tag on the front. I was like, that's pretty solid. I also saw a video today of someone demoing how if you have an electric vehicle, you get a front trunk too. They call them a frunk. So they showed the automatic frunk closing, and they were holding out a carrot and a cucumber as it closes, slashes it right off. So if you have a Cybertruck and you're closing your frunk, it could cut your fingers off very easily.
What are we doing?
It's the worst product ever made. Like, there's innovative things inside of that product, but it is categorically the worst Tesla. I own the previous worst Tesla, so I feel good about this because now I don't own the worst Tesla. The Cybertruck's the worst. My Model X is just weird. It's not bad. It didn't chop my fingers off.
Cybertruck owners don't have children, like otherwise that could be bad.
I mean, Kim Kardashian has a Cybertruck, Ozzy, and she is famously someone who has procreated.
As long as they're not playing hide and seek around that frunk.
I'm just saying, like, someone's going to lose a digit or something off of that, and that's going to be messed up. You're listening to Shack Together, a Shack News video game podcast where if you're not together, you're a listener. I'm your host, Asif Khan, and I'm joined today by my co-host, John Benyamine.
Hello.
Our producer, Joe Stasio.
Hey.
And Senior Editor Ozzie Mejia.
Ooh, I'm a long-time listener, but first time together.
But also, this is your first time on Shack Together, but you have been... I think you're like
on every Shack News podcast there's been.
I was going to say, you are like, I'm not sure the Avengers equivalent of this, but Ozzy has been on every podcast in the Shack News extended podcast universe, or the CPU as the
going
kids
all the way
it.
back to Weekend Confirmed.
Yeah, Ozzy's been on every podcast. So it's like this podcast wasn't officially part of the Shack News extended podcast universe until we could get Ozzy on here. So that was
we were
one of my
desperate
goals
for it. Yeah.
So welcome back. Last time we were doing a podcast, Ozzy was probably a Shack cast at an event that we were at. But it's good to have you back.
GDC.
GDC, yeah, GDC or a PAX maybe PAX West.
I'm in GDC where we went on for like 3-4 hours inside one of those fancy ass hotels that you got. I don't remember which one.
Yeah, it was the Four Seasons. I remember.
Four Seasons, that's the one.
We would always have dinner over there, and yeah, the last day of conferences we would get together, have dinner, and record pods. So I think that was probably the last time, Ozzy. So it's been years, too long. But
actually, that had been the last time I was at GDC because that was 2019. And
that's right, before the Death Stranding.
I went to GDC last week, and that was my first GDC since before the Death Stranding.
It seemed like GDC was back though, right?
You're telling me, like the attendance was higher than I can remember. I had intended to go attend a lot more panels and not emphasize so much on, hands-on appointments and all that. I wanted to actually get a lay of the land this time around. Mm-hmm. But, and I thought I was going to get to do that because shout out to Nick Tan, one of our freelancers. He totally killed it last week. He was great. He's still getting some previews up on shacknews.com if you haven't seen them already. But, yeah, there was so much to see and there were so many appointments that Nick and I were both slammed. And nice. I basically only got to do 2 panels. They were worth it. It was the Tears of the Kingdom panel and the Super Mario Wonder panel, which were both outstanding.
Yeah. And Ozzy posted some breakdowns of both of those, like some breakouts, interesting stories about Koji Kondo suggesting a badge for Mario Wonder and the devs being like,
He suggested a Wonder Effect.
A Wonder Effect.
Basically, they were just like, well, it doesn't really change anything, but we don't want to throw this idea out completely. So they turned it into a badge.
That's right.
And I was messaging the staff on Slack during that panel. And I was just like, Asif, which badge is this? And apparently I don't have this badge yet.
Yeah, I don't either. It's you have to 100% it. John, have you 100%ed Wonder yet?
Yeah, that's definitely 100%. And I think I did it within like I want to say like a few days.
Oh yeah,
I was in. I mean, Wonder. First of all, Wonder's not like crazy difficult, although it has its moments, and they're all fun.
It has its moments.
I 100%ed.
Like that are driven by Wonder Flowers, right? Where there's like and in some cases there's 3 different exits to a level, right? So it's just there's replayability to these levels. That's my
kind of game. I was thinking about that. Why some games are like kind of escaping me, and I think it took some unnecessary fire on Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Look, I was making fun of Joe, not you.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's fine.
I want to make that clear.
But I was
attacking my producer, not any of my co-hosts.
We had a long meeting about how I messed up. Not you.
Oh, stop. But what I was thinking was like, Wonder is that type of game that just like it speaks to me, and I don't know. I was thinking about why the Zelda series kind of doesn't, and it doesn't as much as it used to. I mean, the Wind Waker is like one of my favorite games, and it compelled me to like finish it and like explore everything and whatever. And I can really appreciate why people love those Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But when I look at a Wonder, it's, it just feels maybe it pushes something new constantly. Maybe the linearness, is that it? Maybe that helps also, although I like open world. So I'm not exactly sure. But I had a moment of crisis when I'm listening to my favorite podcast. I'm like, oh, why the heck did I not choose Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom? And I'm like, I just didn't find them as fun. And then I think about Wonder. I'm like, I'll replay that right now. I really like that.
I think that Wonder shares the sense of creativity and wonder that you're talking about with the different effects. I think is very present in both the Zelda games. It may not have hit for everyone when it comes to Tears of the Kingdom and the different powers that you have, but Breath of the Wild, I'm gonna have to say you had to be their moment, because now it's like 8 years from now, or 8 years from release almost, and
Sure.
or 7 years, and like the magic that was there at that time has largely been repurposed elsewhere. Like, Ubisoft's tried to make a clone of it. Elden Ring, I think, addressed a lot of problems people had with Breath of the Wild and brought it to the Souls formula. So there's like, it's not, Tears of the Kingdom is definitely not as novel as Breath of the Wild was, but they do things in Tears of the Kingdom. Going back to Ozzie's point about that presentation, the amount of systems interacting with each other flawlessly in Tears of the Kingdom is striking. Like, just crazy. And it reminds me of what you're talking about with Wonder, where like, if even one Wonder effect didn't hit, it would have made that game like awful. And it was just every single Wonder effect like paid off. It was worth it. I almost
think like, even if one didn't hit for you for whatever reason, right? You were still compelled to keep going because you wanted to see what was next, even if you couldn't appreciate it. Yeah, because I think if you're not into the Breath of the Wild style thing or Tears of the Kingdom or whatever, you're kind of there. Either you like it or you kind of don't, right? Either it hits you, in my opinion, or not. I think part of what didn't hit was the storyline, or just the story, and I felt like
there was no story in Breath of the Wild. It was vacant of story, and then Tears of the Kingdom is dripping with story.
Yeah, so maybe it's something, one of those that, I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, with Wonder, it's like you always wanted to keep going because you're like, I know if it's not hitting for me right now, it will most likely. And
I know what you're talking about, though. When I sat down to review Wonder and I got the key, I played it for like a day and a half straight, basically, and I beat it because it was just
right.
It was just like, give me more singing piranha plants, give me more ridiculous, just the variety,
the top-down perspective, and like just really clever stuff.
And I think it takes less time to beat, but yeah, it's like I gave 3 10s out last year. One was to Tears of the Kingdom, one was to Mario Wonder, and the other one was to F-Zero 99. They're all very different games. And even in the Zelda review, I kind of point out like, here's where people will fall off. But I didn't, and here's why.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great. I'm actually going to get back into playing Tears of the Kingdom. But we're kind of off topic.
I was gonna add to that, and I was gonna say, like, we've kind of hit a point where it's just like, how open world is too open world, and I'm starting to hit that with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, where like I'm going around that open world. I'm like, okay, this is too much. Like, the world is too big, and now it's like there's too much to do, and it's just like, instead of giving me like a 70-hour game, like I would have been fine with a 40-hour game,
Yeah.
Like, so there's definitely limits to this, and I can see where people might have fallen off of that with Tears of the Kingdom and even Elden Ring to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
And now like the puzzle that game designers are running into is gonna be we want to give players a lot to do, but how much is too much? Like, what's the limit?
Mm-hmm. The limit is handing out mushrooms to people trying to bribe an election in Hateno Village. That was the line for me. I'm like, what am I doing here? I had to talk to I'm like trying to rig an election for a fashion designer. Like, I thought this was Zelda, right? Like, no. And I talk about it. There's a ton of distractions. And I think, Joe, we talked about it last year too. Like, there's just so much crap that game's trying to get you to do when you're like, I'm just trying to do this one thing. So yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Ozzie.
Speaking out against democracy and Hyrule, Asif.
That's right. Democracy and capitalism were undermining the Hyrule monarchy. I think is how I put it. But yeah, it's the Hudson construction things. Like, there's all these little side quests that just don't really add anything.
I don't think I ever bothered with any of those.
I got pretty good at it where I like saved a Ultra Hand build that would work on almost every sign I came across. So that was something I did. But
everybody has their quirks. I'm doing basically every Chadley thing that gets asked of me in Rebirth.
Watch Chadley be the final boss. I'm calling that. Chadley, final boss in the next Final Fantasy VII game.
I really hope you're wrong.
He's been training this whole time. You've just been giving him data.
He's going to be of materia.
There really should be some
perfect opponent.
Yeah, there should be some payoff.
You've given him all the information he needs.
No, but speaking of Final Fantasy, Joe, I'm going to start with you. You're stuck in Gongaga? What's going on?
Yeah, it's like the jungle zone. This is just like the worst segment for listeners, so I apologize because it's just ebbs and flows of like, oh, I'm warming up to it, cooling off. I'm very cooled off at the moment. I'm not feeling it. It's just too much, like Ozzie just said.
Yeah,
I don't need this much filler. I don't need it.
And John, it says here you fell off Balatro, so we got to talk about this. I feel bad. I recommended this to you.
No, I fell off it, and then like, funny enough, while I'm watching the game, I think it was like the Clippers Sixers game yesterday. I'm playing Balatro, and I beat it for the third time, and that's not a big accomplishment because like there's like 10 decks or something.
It's hard, man. There's so much randomness
really
involved.
Difficult. It is difficult, and like I'm still trying to figure out what's the strategy to use. I'm more nervous about Balatro because I've spent so much time. Again, Binding of Isaac is probably the one that I spent the most time. Dead Cells, I spent a ton of time in that, and I think that kind of being compelled to like get to your favorite weapon and really like buff up. For example, for Balatro, for me, it's like all about the flush, right? Mm-hmm. And just beef the shit out of Jupiter, and really like. I'm
actually the opposite.
Into that. It used to be straights and now it's flushes, and it just feels like when you're OP, it's easy. I think one hand I got 1.9 million. That's the highest I ever got.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, okay, that's cool, but you really have to get the right kind of angle. So it was towards the fourth quarter that I'm like, okay, finally I got a good run going.
Yeah, no, there's a sense of randomness to it where you will lose that first round and it's just unfair or bad luck. I tend to buff pairs and 2-pair because they're like the most common hands. So I'll like go heavy into that. And then even if you do play like a full house or something, you still get credit for the pair and the 2-pair.
Yeah.
So I've buffed those historically.
I had a run last night that was like, you had the Joker that if the hand was 3 or below.
Yeah, it's 25 below.
And then I'm just buffing like 3 of a kind and pairs, and man, oh man, you are smashing things. And then I think I just blew it because I used my discards, poorly. And sometimes you're like, oh my, I can't believe it. Yep. Like I'm so perfect for this run, and then it just cuts short. Also, I know that I'm going to win one when one of the Jokers is that death save.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's a great one.
I've only had that twice.
It's like a free life or a continue, basically.
Yeah, you're like, okay, there's no way I'm going to lose that. So I'm back on a little bit.
Because it doesn't really do like a whole lot otherwise. So it's like, it's only useful for that one scenario, but that is a very important scenario to have it for. But like for me, it's like, if I have something that gives me more of a multiplier, I may play that instead of that one. But you're right. Sometimes that, especially late, so much of that game really depends on when you get those cards, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, if it comes later in my run, yeah, that is super valuable Joker. I haven't been playing it much ever since I beat the game, because I was like addicted to it for a good week and a half there, and I was like, I'm gonna stop because I got other games I have to play. But I still think it's a good game. No, I just saw the sentence just says you fell off, but it sounds like you got back on.
Got back on. I even I got back on, but then another thing was, what the heck was I playing on Xbox? It was like an indie game. Oh, those indies. God damn it. Sorry, I forget. Oh, it was a little to the left. Wait, is it a little to the left?
To the left? I like that game.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, that was like a nice like couple hours, and you just smash it, and I kind of 100%ed that. That's my type of like little puzzle game.
Oh,
it was fun. Yeah, that's not a free one, but that's on Game Pass.
On Game Pass.
I played that,
and it's worth playing. Like it's fun to get to sort everything out together, and then like you have a little cat paw that kind of like messes everything up, and it's just like having cats in real life. I used to have cats, and we're a lot like that.
It's super super cute.
It's $15 too, so it's not that crazy expensive.
Yeah. That was a good one.
Balatro sounds like one of those games that where, much like Hearthstone, I'm going to wait for it to come to mobile, and once it comes to mobile, it's going to consume my life, and I'm looking forward to that.
I don't know, Ozzie. Are you much of a poker player? Because
I used to be.
Okay, so
I was more of a blackjack guy, but
it's not like poker. But at least it has the rules of poker there. I don't know. I think you'll like it.
Hockey isn't like solitaire, but it still gets the best elements of it.
Man, I'm going to be talking about Pocket Card Jockey here in a second.
I knew it. I couldn't wait to get you started.
But Ozzie, what have you been playing lately? That you can talk about.
That I can talk about. I mean, look, it's no secret, I've been crazy busy these last few weeks with between the traveling and some of our previews that went up this week, Sandland and Visions of Mana, both up on Shack News right now. It has been hard to find time to play a game for me, but I am finally getting back into Rebirth, and I'm only just now on Chapter 4. I just got to the Terror of the Deep, which looked very familiar to me because that was the boss I faced off in the preview session a few months ago. And I had forgotten everything that the Terror of the Deep does, so that actually took me a little while. The battle mechanics, like between the perfect block and everything else, like it's taken me a moment to get the hang of it. But I think I've got a groove now, and I think I'm going to be able to hopefully get through the rest of the game soon because I want to see more of this story. And the dynamics between the characters are just so interesting and so much fun. And just following Cloud's weird past and weird, quirky character. Like, he fascinates me. He interests me in a way that no other character does right now. So I'm happy to go through more of that. And of course, Asif, when I try not to get lost in this so much these days, but Hearthstone got reset. It's a new standard season, and I'm jumping back into that and enjoying how quick the meta is going. Because now if you play Shaman, your games are ending in turn 6 or less. So that's a lot of fun. They just got a nerf today. Like a couple of patch notes went out earlier in the day as we're recording this, and I don't think it's going to stop it. Like, they nerfed one of the cards, but they didn't nerf the card that they should have nerfed, which is for any Hearthstone players that might be listening. Lightning Reflexes is one that should have been nerfed, and it didn't. So games are still going to be going quick, man. And given that back in the day, the Hearthstone sessions used to be like 20, 30 minutes a game. I'm okay with a quick session. I'm okay with a quick game. Look, games going quick are why I stuck with Marvel Snap for as long as I have. Marvel Snap, you can get in and out in like 2 minutes. And I always appreciate that.
When you die, Balatro goes pretty quick. Like, it can go, like, literally, I've had a game where I die on that first 300 quota.
Yeah, me too.
You're just like, well, that was easy.
Yeah. Do you ever skip blinds often?
No.
Or do you?
No.
Never. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's the right balance there, because sometimes, like, the bonus that you get can be really effective.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like maybe if I could have done that on one of the boss blinds, I could have, but yeah, I don't know. I haven't been playing that game much lately.
Part of me also wants to go back and do to some of the post game for Princess Peach. And I didn't get to talk about this in the review, but there is a little bit of a post game in that you can replay some of the levels and do a time trial for some of them. And I'm actually interested in doing that. Also, you can find some of the hidden ninjas that get sprinkled around some of the levels. So that's kind of a fun idea.
That's going to be a speedrunning game, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I edited a lot of your footage for that. So I've gotten to watch it. I haven't actually had a chance to play the game, but yeah, it just seems like speedrun central.
Yeah. And nice. I'm going to tell you right now, Asif, that soundtrack is going to be underappreciated. The soundtrack is great.
Yeah. Like crazy good. It's like really good jazz music, and yeah, highly recommend it.
Someone posted the theme for the ninja stage and like Ninja Peach is great, but the music for Kung Fu Peach is incredible. I was like, it's so epic.
Yep.
Like go listen to that. Go pay attention to the music if you play that game. You're gonna have a good time with it.
Yeah, that's fun. There's nothing wrong with that game. It's good.
Yeah, I forgot to mention I did boot that up with my daughter, and that as her first game ever, like that where she was holding the controller.
Oh,
it went pretty well. Like she was moving in 3D space, so that was cool. Cool to watch.
Has she seen the Mario movie?
Yes, she's a big fan of that. Yeah.
She a fan of Peach?
Oh yeah.
There you go. Oh, that's awesome. That's a great first video game to have.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, anyone want to ask me what I've been playing?
No?
Asif, what have you been playing?
Asif.
Thanks for asking, guys. So this Splatfest snuck up on us. There was a Splatfest last weekend. It was drums, guitar, keyboard. Those were the three choices. Drums being
home.
I know, like, a lot of people. This one kind of slipped by, but I did participate in it. I fired it up on Saturday and on Sunday. I played a little bit of Tricolor Splatfest. It was great. It's still a fun game. It's a very Nintendo game, but yeah, they're still supporting it all these years later. So
I thought you didn't like the Tricolor Splatfest, though.
I don't. It's broken as shit. I hate it. It's still stupid, but like I will fight for drums every time there's some stupid Splatfest that comes around. I get sucked in. Ice cream flavors, I'm going to argue about it. I love drums. Of course I'm going to pick drums over synthesizer. Joe, you would have signed up for team guitar probably.
Yeah, maybe. I like drums too. I can play the drums. Who knows?
You know what I'm saying though? Drums, guitar, but no, we lost the keyboard. Big man won.
We lost the keyboard? Oh
we
my
lost
God.
the keyboard. It's because none of you guys were playing.
I didn't even know.
That's my point. This game is kind of it's fallen off in a lot of ways, but they have side order DLC and like they keep supporting.
Have you played side order yet?
No, I haven't.
Go play side order, man. Side order is so good.
It does look awesome.
It's so much fun. Like it's not as deep as Hades, but it gets everything right. I absolutely love side order.
Yeah, I don't know when, but I have it because it's part of the expansion pack subscription, right?
That's right.
So, yeah, so I have it. I don't have to pay for it or anything. But anyway, there was a Splatfest this past weekend.
Cool.
Big Man won. For the second time, I think this is Big Man winning. But yeah, wanted to mention it at the very least. I do want to touch on something about this Mario Maker
controversy.
I guess controversy is the only way to call it. So yeah, the level that everyone was trying to, I think it was called Trimming the Hedges. It was uploaded by someone who was using a task bot, and he claimed that he didn't want to reveal that a task bot existed for Super Mario Maker. So he held that secret for 7 years. And then when it looked very, very bad that people weren't going to be able to clear it, and he was watching all these people trying it, he came out and said, I uploaded it with using a bot. So that's kind of a wet fart way to end this kind of cool story about a community coming together to 100% a game. But, you know, it does mean that all the human cleared uploaded levels have been cleared. And the last level that was cleared, kind of poetic, it's called The Last Dance. So that's nice. I salute everyone over there at 0% Mario Maker, but it just sucks. It kind of sucks that this is how it ended.
I'm eager to see like how a similar project would go for Super Mario Maker 2. Because
it's already begun. They're already doing it.
A lot of these levels that haven't been taken, a lot of those troll levels that haven't been taken down are just amazing. And like, if you're not like one of those streamers that does those for a living, like those are tough as hell. And I would never have the patience for it. And I love watching other people do it.
I can tell you that just going on Twitch on the weekends, there's people already working on the Mario Maker 2 levels. So yeah, that's the next thing, but there's no imminent death of the servers or anything. So when this podcast goes live, I think you'll have like 1 or 2 days left to download Mario Maker levels before the servers go offline. So yeah, I'm glad that we hit 100%. I don't like how we hit 100%.
It's an end of an era it's another end of an era for Wii U.
Yeah.
And have we run out of end of an eras for Wii U yet?
Yes.
That's pretty much it, right?
Miiverse is already gone, and now this. Yeah, that's about it. It's a wrap.
At this point, I hope you got whatever you got off the Virtual Console, because that's all your Wii U.
I did, and that's why my Wii U is still plugged in to this day.
We're still playing Star Fox Guard, I think, until that gets ported.
Oh yes, another game.
How has that not been ported yet? Star Fox Zero and all that. Like, wouldn't a port with traditional controls be a no-brainer? Like, how has that not happened yet?
There's something going on with them and Star Fox, but I just want to get to some more games I've been playing. I'm still playing Retro Bowl on mobile on my phone while watching TVs and podcasts, but I have some news. I mentioned how they added a kick return, like an actual user-controlled kick return. I had my first kick return for a touchdown this week, so I was pretty excited about that.
Cool.
It was like nice. A 98-yard touchdown. I love Retro Bowl. Highly recommend it.
I've been hearing about Retro Bowl like outside of this podcast now for the first. I don't know if it's like I'm listening for it or whatever, but yeah, I've heard some people talking about it.
A great mobile game, and they keep supporting it. The devs are super communicative with their community. It's great. I love that game.
I remember how excited you got when I told you that it was on Switch.
But then I played it and I was like, I'm going right back to my mobile, because it's
meant for mobile.
It's meant for mobile. It's perfect two-hand, horizontal play. I would have rather they make a Retro Bowl for consoles that actually used D-pad and maybe like a turbo, but like they could have done something different. They just ported it over, and I don't think the mobile controls translate that well. Which, sounds weird because most of the time console will be a better way to play most games.
We're still looking for the ideal football game on console, right, Asif?
It's Tecmo Super Bowl still, in my opinion.
It still is. I mean, look, I like what Wild Card Football did. Yeah. I think Wild Card Football is fine. It's just, I don't know. There's something about it's not going to keep me coming back.
I'm worried about college football because that EA keeps telling us that that's coming, and I'm like, that's going to suck. I just have very little faith that they're going to make a good one, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, I'm also playing Pocket Card Jockey Ride-On still. Nintendo Horse 64 was sent to the farm, so now I'm on Ultra Nintendo Horse, which is the first horse that I actually bred at the farm. Ozzie, you reviewed this game. Can you win? Is there a win condition?
I don't think so, as far as I know. And if there is, I didn't reach it.
Okay, so it's just like however old your horse goes, right? And like,
in about a month, you're going to be telling us all about Super Nintendo Horse Switch.
No. After Ultra Nintendo Horse, we're going to do. Sorry, I already did. I kind of went backwards because I did Nintendo Horse 64, Nintendo Horse Cube, Ultra Nintendo Horse. So the next one would be Nintendo Horsey with the II at the end. Like we
and Horsey. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, Nintendo Horsey or Nintendo Horsey, and then Nintendo Horsey U, I think is where we're headed.
It's gross.
So we're a few generations from Switch is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
But if I can keep winning, Ultra Nintendo Horse gets to stay alive and not go to the farm.
And we'll eventually get to F-Zero Horse 99.
I mean, we're about to get to F-Zero 99 right now. Yeah, this may surprise you guys. I'm playing F-Zero 99.
Well, it also got an update this week.
It did, Ozzie. We're gonna get to that in our news segment. I'm gonna leave that out for now. Update is that I had a second place finish on Big Blue just 2 nights ago. I was like 4 seconds away from first place, so that's deflating. But
is that like relatively close? Like what?
No,
Oh no, 4 seconds.
Like they're right out. The races are about 2 minutes long, John. So like 4 seconds. That's like a lot of time.
Yeah, I got
and also just how fast those cars are moving.
It's
hard.
Sure.
To have that kind of a lead. What I'm seeing is that when you do get out in first or even in that top 5, there's less traffic. There's less people hitting you and stuff. So it's easier to stay out in front. And that was true of all F-Zero games, right? But I'm close. I'm very close. But then this update, which we'll get to in a second, but I want to mention that it adds mirror courses. So all of the Night League courses are now offered as mirrors. So you can play Big Blue mirrored, you can play Mute City mirrored. They're not exactly one-to-one mirrors. They're putting these things around them that are kind of different. They deal with the jump differently in the mirror version of Mute City versus the regular one. So it's like I've been practicing these tracks, and now they're giving me more new tracks and more new turns that I have to learn. And it's a little annoying because I'm very good at Big Blue. I'm struggling with mirror version of Big Blue because every turn is different, right? So that's been frustrating, but it's great. I think it's wild that we have a live service F-Zero game and Nintendo is like supporting it. It still feels like a fever dream to me. But yeah. Before we move on, I just want to shout out my rivals of the week. Beautiful, not beautiful. Mr. Fix-It. This one dude, just F-Zero with a bunch of Japanese characters after it. I do want to point out that I race against a lot of Japanese people at night. I wish I could read kanji because maybe they have funny names too, and I just don't know. But yeah, there's a lot of Japanese racers out there. Another guy's name was Watch Out. Rapidodo, I thought was pretty good. This guy, Low Ping with 2 G's, we were trading. It was one of these things where like they showed up in my lobby like 4 times in a row, and we were rivals like 3 of those 4 times. I think I won like 2 out of 3 against them. This username is just great. Dude Face, just love that. And Shazam, I lost to Shazam as a rival. So those were my rivals of the week in F-Zero 99. We'll get to more F-Zero news at a later point in this podcast, but I have thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts about the F-Zero franchise and where it's at right now, and I think it's cool. So yeah, that's what we've been playing. Joe, you got something for us? You got a new game?
I do. I hope it's less controversial than 2 games ago.
I'm sure it will be. So yeah, let's get to it. Hit me with that music.
All right, cue it up.
Bum, 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 bum. There you go.
Guys, welcome to Does It Sequel. That's right. It's the game entitled Does It Sequel, where I give you a list of games, and then you will tell me if these games will receive, doesn't have to release, but an announcement in the next 12 months. Will they receive a sequel in the next 12 months? An announcement or a release would be totally fair as well. I have 10 games here. You're each going to give me your scores, and I created a calendar to remind myself 12 months exactly from today to queue up the winners. And of course, there will be trophies and cheat cakes and whatever else.
Oh, good. Yum.
So wait, are we just saying yes or no?
Yes or no, and then I'm going to tally it up in a year.
So there's no winner until a year from now?
That's the best I could do for this. I pointed
this out to him, John. I was like,
our producer
time capsule.
Joe, can you leave the room just a quick 2 seconds?
Okay, here I go.
Just a quick, okay. And then the door slam effect here.
Yeah, there you
go. Yeah, our producer's fucking up. All right, hey Joe, come on in. Hey, Joe, buddy. Hey, we can't wait to play this.
Typically when there's adulation, you keep the person in the room. It's nice to hear stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean, I had to loudly fart. I think
the key thing here is in the next 12 months. I think that's the...
Yeah, this is insane. This is like...
That's tough.
I've never seen that kind of game where we won't
takes
know
a whole
who
year
wins.
to find out if you've won. The only thing I can think of, John, is Shack News Cortex. It tells you at the end of the year if you won.
That's true. Hey, this is a okay. I'm sorry, Joe. We're not. See, Joe is like, why do I even bother? But we love games. We love these games.
Yeah.
However, may I make a suggestion?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, you're in the room again.
He's here. Yeah.
He's in the room.
Yeah,
okay.
he's here.
Maybe like there's one like perspective, like, hey, this was. No, it's very difficult. No, this is an impossible game to. We have to wait 12 months. Okay, Joe, go ahead. Do your thing.
Okay. We're going to go around the room.
I love it.
This is good. Hey, guys.
Yes.
Hey,
let me know
I'm here.
if you think Death's Door, I don't know if you remember this, like a little crow game.
I do.
Very well liked, maybe 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago now.
I want to say it was 2 years ago.
Yeah. I think this is an interesting candidate because that game was extremely well liked, and we've heard nothing about a follow-up. So, Asif, what do you think? Death's Door in the next 12 months, will we see number 2?
I'm going to go on a limb and say no, but I do want to point out that Death's Door was the Shack News Indie Game of the Year 2021. It's an excellent video game.
Nice.
I just think that games like that probably take time to make, and that they're not the biggest team. And yeah, so I'm going to say I would love to see a Death's Door sequel, and I believe it was like a spiritual successor to their first game or one of their earlier games, Titan Souls. So like, yeah, I do think they will make another one. I don't know if I guess it was successful enough, that they'll make a sequel. The reason I say no is that the next 12 months part of this. So that's why I say no.
John?
I know there's not going to be. I mean, it might be a quiet announce, but it's kind of tough because I could see it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Asif, he brings up the best points. It's like, it is a small team. It's not so easy to stand something like that up. And I would have thought we would have heard about an announcement by now if it was imminent.
Because it was successful. And it's like a Devolver game, I think.
Keep in mind, the game is, will they announce a sequel in the next 12 months? That's the game.
Okay. No, I still don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay, Ozzie.
Imagine we're going to lose like in the next week when they announce it.
I'm going to say no, and part of that is because that's typically not Devolver's MO these days. They don't usually do sequels anymore. They always move on to the next thing. So just because of that, I'm going to say no.
Great point. Next up is Ghost of Tsushima. Asif, what do you think? In the next 12 months?
Will we get an announcement of a sequel? Yes.
John?
Ghost of Tsushima? Oh man, that's tough because you would think so, especially with like PS6 and whatever the hell's going on with Sony.
PS5 Pro or whatever.
PS5 Pro, but I know like it's 5 Pro is like, doesn't that beget like a 6th announcement or something? Or no, you think it's
I think they gotta at least get to GTA 6 before we hear PS6.
Yeah, true.
So we're like 2 years away at least.
I would see Ghosts. Yeah, I would see that happening.
It just the announcement, right? Like,
yeah, I could see the announcement, like
Sony
a logo
needs to announce
or something,
right? Like their CEO came out and said no mainline titles are coming out this year. Well, Ghost of Tsushima is not one of those, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be. They have to announce something. Yeah, to your point, like, what do they got? So yes, let's say yes. They become bullish again.
The game is evolving into a groupthink. I love it. Ozzie, what's your answer?
I'm going to say no. And I think Sucker Punch might be working on something else.
Okay.
I have nothing to base that on, but that's just my guess.
Yeah, that's fair.
Is it a new Infamous game?
No.
Why not?
Yeah. I agree.
Like Second Son was good. I don't know. I would like a new Infamous game, please. Just gonna throw it out there.
Yeah, Infamous was good. It was a good series.
Yeah.
Next up, Into the Breach, isometric roguelike tactics game that
Indie darling
told you exactly what would happen when you made a move.
A Chatty favorite, as far as I remember. Chatty definitely loved FTL from the same people.
Yeah, that's right. Faster Than Light did kind of come out.
This has been, I think,
how long has it been?
At least 5 years ago, I think. 2018-ish.
I'm going to say yes.
He's going for it.
It's a good game, and it's been a while. I can see them.
Yeah.
You can taste the sheet cake.
There better not be the promise of sheet cake and then no sheet cake.
Yeah,
well, that's my fault. I keep losing at F-Zero.
Joe, the cake thing reminds me of when you and we were at the bus station the other day.
Oh man, what a terrible
Grabbing
story.
a couple slices of cake.
The two grossest men on planet Earth walking into Carlo's Bakery.
Okay, I don't know why the grossest man. I don't know where the hell that's coming from.
Well, we were both saying, "Oh, my feet hurt. Oh, what a long day. Let's go."
Yeah, I mean we were miserable. I wouldn't say we were gross.
Gross.
Yeah, we were miserable.
I imagine we looked gross externally, but I guess.
All right, Jesus. Well, I thought you looked all right. I must have had a goddamn piece of garbage on my face. Now I know. But
so,
anyway,
John,
sorry.
Into the Breach 2, is it happening or not?
It is not. No,
Okay.
it would. I think it would have happened by now. It would have been announced by now.
Yeah, I kind of felt that way, but at the same time, that game still sells. Like, people are still buying
that's fair.
it.
That's fair. I could see this.
It's a
going
great
way.
Steam Deck game, and it's a great Switch game. So, like, there's a lot of people who probably are still discovering it. But that studio, that studio could have made. They can make anything in that framework, and I think it would succeed. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're making a game.
Sure.
Into the Breach 2, hard to say. Ozzy, what do you think?
I'm going to say no. I think they'll move on to something else.
Wow.
That's fair. I think that's fair. But Into the Breach, like, it does have name recognition. So, yeah.
It does have name recognition. That's why it is available through Netflix.
That too. Yeah. Netflix.
There you go.
Everyone's favorite gaming subscription service.
Next up. And I don't necessarily mean it has to be the same developer or publisher, but next up, Guardians of the Galaxy. Will there be a follow-up
No.
to the third-person action game?
No. I agree.
Ozzy.
No.
I really wish there would be. I'm going to say no. I want there to be, though. That game is fantastic. That story was great. And that team did a tremendous job with that game. I reviewed that game. I went to it with my expectations in the basement, and it exceeded them in every way. God, that game is great. I hope there's one eventually, but I don't think it's going to be in the next 12 months.
Wow. We have 4 no's from Ozzy. He's conservative.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm necessarily saying it's likely by even including it on the list, but Hogwarts Legacy.
Okay. Sorry, is Asif first?
It doesn't matter. But,
No, it doesn't.
It was the best-selling game of last year.
Mm-hmm.
They will make a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about Warner Brothers games, right?
Right.
We're
So
talking
we
about
have
Warner
to
Brothers
factor
and
in-
12 months.
They have to factor in that their CEO is going to repeatedly step on his dick and trip over and face plant at least 15 times this year. And he's still busy ruining Mortal Kombat 1. And they did say that they're focused on service games going forward. So I'm going to say no. We're not going to get an announcement about Hogwarts Legacy 2 this year or in the next 12 months.
John.
They really should have planned out some DLC or something like
that. Would have been smart.
Yeah, pretty big missed opportunity there. So I'd say yes, they really should, just because of how big it is. I'd be surprised if they don't announce something. Yeah, it's a public company. They have to announce something.
Ozzy.
Yes, I think we'll get like a 30-second teaser something at the Game Awards. It's going to be a long ways off, but
announcement.
They'd be nuts not to make a sequel to this.
They're like, look at them though. They're so bad.
A mess, but it's also, you also said it, Asif, it's their highest selling game right now.
Yeah.
What else they got? It's not Mortal Kombat.
No.
The only thing that might sell is the Wonder Woman game, but we don't know what state that's in either.
But then, like, their big game, I think, that's coming out this year right now is Multiverses. And that's a live service free-to-play game that's going to have microtransactions. We don't know if that'll be financially successful.
Their dogged determination to make everything a live service is going to kill them.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I
said, when we did a Shack Chat at the start of the year where we made our bold predictions, and I said they're going to get out of gaming entirely. And they're going to license. They're going to try to do Disney and license out their IPs.
Yeah.
And it's going to go a lot more poorly because they're not good at this like Disney is.
The problem
terribly.
The problem is they actually own studios though, so they're going to have to divest like the people who make the Shadow Mordor, and like they're going to have to sell NetherRealm. Like I don't know. they're just so horribly run. I don't know. But I think that the next Hogwarts game is going to have live service elements. So that's why I'm kind of concerned that Legacy, because that was largely a single player game, right?
Right.
Yeah.
They're so dumb that they had the best selling video game. It was a single player game, and their conclusion was we need more live service games. So that's why I just like a logical smart company. Yes, they would announce it.
And like they just released Suicide Squad as a live service game, and that sucks. That game's no good.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But yeah, the Hogwarts sold well, so logically we should see a sequel. But I don't know.
Wow, a lively discussion.
I hate David Zaslav. I just want to throw it out there. I would just fight that dude.
Next up, we have Cuphead.
That's a spicy one.
No.
I'm gonna say yes.
Love it.
Wow. I think there's enough. I think there was enough with that Netflix series that there's some juice in the IP. I think they'll. It's gonna be a while, but I think we're gonna get something.
Wow.
I just don't think that we're gonna get an announcement this year, though, or in the next 12 months.
I think for sure. I think they're working on more. I would see a Cuphead movie announcement before a game announcement. I think the game took so long to create.
Yeah, it's hard. The artwork that is required for that game takes forever. It takes years.
Yeah, and I think the animated series did well enough that, we actually quite enjoy it. Like they did a good job with that. So I think more of that.
Now, I'm not trying to sway anybody, but it has been many years since Cuphead came out.
Mm-hmm. But they worked on DLC. They worked on
the Netflix show.
They have the
I think
show.
they'll be in a state where they can make an announcement. I don't think they'll be in a state to release anytime soon. But if I'm asking myself, do we get a 30-second tease and like a logo reveal at the Jeff Awards, then I can see it.
Yeah, that's true.
Next up, Returnal.
If Sony really gets back into shape with the PlayStation library, right? Which is kind of weird to say. Like, what the heck's going on there?
They're in a bit of a drought,
very expensive to make AAA games.
Yeah, I mean that's fair, but like, then are we not selling PlayStations anymore? Like, what are we? Yeah. What are we selling with the PS Pro? Why are we selling a 5 Pro? Like, what's the deal? So I think Returnal, I could see that like coming in. The same as Ghost of Tsushima. I could see a Returnal sequel.
It fits that statement from the CEO again, that there's no mainline titles coming out this year, but Returnal, I think it's yes.
That is not a mainline, right?
No, but it's great. And it runs well on...
Yeah, it was super liked, right?
It runs well on PC too, John. To your point about them not selling hardware as much, it's a good game for PC. A lot of people discovered Returnal on PC, so maybe they're going to try to put that carrot in front of people. Like, hey, you want to play Returnal 2? You can only do that on PlayStation 5 for the next year or two or whatever. But yeah, I do think Sony has to lean into these like second tier IP this year. Because there are like 50 million PS5s out there. They need software to sell on these things. Sure. So yeah, I'll say yes. Also, very good game if you haven't played it.
I would like to. So I have a yes from Asif, a yes from John, and now Ozzie.
I'm going to say no, and it's only because Housemarque went from Resogun to Returnal, which are such drastically different games. Yeah. And I think they're going to make that same kind of jump to whatever their next title is. So I don't think we're going to get a sequel.
Okay.
Bold. Love it. Scarlet Nexus. Does anybody remember Scarlet Nexus?
I do.
I do remember Scarlet Nexus.
Was this Bandai?
Yes.
Yeah, the Bandai sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Do you remember the predominant... Okay, no. You remember the predominant headline with Scarlet Nexus? On every review, it felt like was, man, they are setting themselves up for a great sequel. What great bones this has was a common talking point.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's just anecdote.
I just don't think the name has any staying power at all, and they could just call it whatever the hell else and just make another one.
Isn't it it's also an anime though?
Yeah,
it is.
Like that. It's based on something. I don't remember off the top of my head.
I guess it is an anime. Huh. Okay.
John, Ozzie?
Oh, I don't. I'm not familiar.
JRPG made by Bandai, basically based on an anime. I didn't even know. Yeah.
Brainpunk genre?
I'm going to say we'll eventually get one, but I don't think we're going to get one in the next 12 months.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. They're working on other stuff over at Bandai right now. You know, like they got Elden Ring DLC. They got Sandland.
Which,
yes,
man, the jump that Bandai has made with these anime adaptations between like Sandland and like One Piece Odyssey, like they're doing some serious work on these, and like I respect it. Like these games are actually good.
Yep, got a lot of really good artists over at Bandai these days. But yeah, I don't think anyone's expecting Scarlet Nexus 2 this year. Not a bad game though. It's like really cheap right now if you want to pick it up.
Yeah. In the spirit of selling PS5s or PS5 Pros, you might say, what's going on with that Kenna Bridge of Spirits title? I don't know about you, but when that was shown, I was like, wow, PS5 is worth the purchase, huh? It can look like that. Will we see a sequel?
No.
John?
I don't think so.
Ozzie?
No, I think that story ended pretty conclusively. I'm going to say no.
That goes for the previous game too. That just to register my official. No.
Yeah, I'm looking at the spreadsheet. He has you marked down as no.
Yeah, there's a blank.
Thank you.
Oh, this last one's sad.
Our last game. Is it? Did I just mess up? I might have messed up.
No. It's nothing wrong.
Will we see Outriders 2?
Hell no.
In the next 12 months.
Outriders 2? No.
No
way. No chance in hell. No chance.
I think Flying Wild Hog wants to move on.
I thought we were going to talk about like, is there going to be like a Mario Wonder 2?
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Mario Kart 9. Oh my God, Mario Kart 9.
I tried to find a list of games where these are all firsts, right? These are not sequels themselves. And
I see.
They came out in a period of time that it would be feasible to hear about number 2 soon. That's the criteria for making the list.
No, that's fair.
Mario Wonder would not fit the bill. I could have put Odyssey on here.
Odyssey 2? Or Mario Odyssey
2 would be...
Odyssey would be so cool.
Odyssey?
Mario Odyssey 2. Will we see it?
No, it won't happen. I would love it to happen. Oh my God.
Ozzie?
I don't think so. And I say that only because I think they want to do a similar reinvention of 3D Mario the way that Wonder did for 2D Mario.
And also what they kind of teased their hand with Bowser's Fury.
Yes, that's right.
Sure. I love Bowser's Fury, you guys.
Do you love Bowser's Fury more than Odyssey?
Yeah.
No, really? Wow.
John, for me, how you talk about Zelda open worlds and how they're not hitting for you, that's Odyssey how I feel about Odyssey.
Wow.
This goes back to what we were saying earlier about how much is too much. What's the limit? How open is too open, you know?
600 shines. That's the number.
I guess, if you try to 100 it,
that was me in 3D Mario games, John. That was me. I was 100% in Sunshine and 64 and Galaxy 2.
Yeah.
Odyssey, it's just too much. And some of those things just aren't fun to me. I don't like the stupid put Mario's mustache back on the puzzle. I hate that. Like, don't make me do that. But like, that's all I'm saying.
I forgot about that. That stunk.
I don't like the racing, but like at the same time, some of the best level design in the history of 3D platforming is in that game. So it's like, it's not that I dislike the game. I just got tired of it.
700 poons for Darker Side.
That's what I'm saying. And like Bowser's Fury was like perfect size for me. Like and I know if they do something like that, it's going to have to be bigger. But I do think they had something really cool with the Bowser mechanic, like how he shows up and the clouds show up and music changes. It was kind of like a Wonder effect, but for the whole world. So yeah, I do like elements of Bowser's Fury more than Odyssey, but it's hard to, I would never say that Odyssey is a worse game than Bowser's Fury. It's more that I just had more fun playing Bowser's Fury.
I mean, that's fair. No, Bowser's Fury, on your recommendation, I actually played and I 100% of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, it was a lot of fun. That was maybe, I don't know, I forget, 20 hours?
Kaiju Cat Mario? Come on.
No, it was cool. I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with that. It was super clever.
So I hope they take the best of both of those, the best of Odyssey and the best of Bowser's Fury, and make something. Cool. But I don't. They're weird about naming Mario games. You know, like they usually don't like putting the number 2 after stuff. But if there ever was a time for a 2, Odyssey is definitely that. So I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm gonna say no.
All right.
I'll say no, just because it's not Nintendo's way to ever do that. Like, I don't think, like, they just change it up. You know, the fact that Galaxy 2 even was a thing.
Yeah.
Right?
That's rare.
But there was no 64 2. Correct me if I'm wrong. There was no Sunshine 2 and Odyssey 2. I don't see that happening.
There was no Super Mario. Oh, and you go back to the 3DS Wii U era, you had Super Mario 3D Land and you had Super Mario 3D World. So there was that. But
yeah, I mean, there might be that. And I guess you had Super Mario World, Yoshi's Island, World 2. I mean,
that's true.
That I don't know. I feel like that's more of a spiritual sequel than an actual sequel.
When are they just going to release Super Mario Bros. 4? Like, get it over with. Rip the Band-Aid off.
That's true. That would be a big deal. That's actually a great idea. Like, why wouldn't you do that?
Once again, just put it on my resume for why I should be president of Nintendo of America instead of that Jaboofer.
Right. They saw what happened when Sega did that for Sonic the Hedgehog, and that didn't work out for them.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That
was the game's fault. I don't think that was the title's fault.
well, good game, Joe. I enjoyed this game.
Wow.
I can't wait to hear who wins this 12 months from today.
On March 28th, 2025.
Guys, I'm going to leave you with one little fact. This is how like fantasy football works. Like we're all used to this format. It's
fantasy football. You have to wait a whole year, though.
No, you got to wait like five
season. It's a season, and I guess like baseball season's starting. So like fantasy baseball, it's like more like 2/3 of the year.
Will we get a sequel in the next 5 months? Sorry, that's the next time we play. I'll do it that way.
No, Joe. Look.
This is like the 8-minute abs. You're gonna 8-minute abs your own segment.
8-minute abs our segment.
No. This was a fun game.
Now I'm gonna play. And we're gonna move on to story time, where Asif's gonna run us through. Wow,
a lot.
quite a few stories. Let's do it.
Welcome to Storytime. Let's dive into the latest stories from the past week, and most of them from yesterday, because everything happened yesterday. Mm-hmm. So here's some quickies, everyone. These are quickies trademarked by Joe. Marvel Rivals is a team-based shooter from NetEase Games. This is a Marvel Overwatch-like. It appears to be third person, but other than that, it seems very Overwatchy, so much so that it's 6v6. Remember Overwatch? 6v6?
Yeah.
What do we think? Anyone?
An Overwatch hero shooter. Why so soon?
I'm happy.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
It looks polished.
Look, I get to be Doctor Strange, so I'm happy with it.
That's cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Jeff teased this. God Emperor Jeff Keighley, he teased the announcement. He said, expect some news from Marvel Games tomorrow, and the God Emperor delivered. So thanks, Jeff, for having that information a day before everyone. Next up, Apple's WWDC Worldwide Developer Conference 2024 event set for June 10th. And guess what? Shaq Pets wasn't invited again. What the hell? It's the best app you have on your stupid platform. Anyway, I'll see you at WWDC 2025, Tim. Anyway, what the hell do we think they're going to show us there? AI, everything. Yeah.
AI.
What do they typically show? Like, what is a
they show off their
menu?
Operating systems. It's the new operating systems. They usually announce the beta for iOS and the beta for Mac there.
So it's not a hardware show.
iOS 18 then?
Yeah.
It's going to be the new Siri. It'll be all about Siri. That's my
One more
prediction.
thing. We cut a check to Google, and now Siri is basically Google Gemini. That's going to be the one more thing.
It'll be useful.
You know what's funny? We're seeing it happen again, though, John. Apple and Google are partnering to take down Microsoft.
It never stopped, though. Like, Google was always the search engine of note.
They're also the cloud services provider. Like, all of the iTunes cloud stuff, Google.
It's all Google. Yeah, no, they are very friendly companies, and that's why the Siri AI, whatever they call her, or however she's... I'm actually looking forward to
just
it in a weird way.
Better. Like, please make Siri better. That's it.
That's what I'm looking forward to. It's like, I know AI sucks and this and that. But I actually think in the hands of like AI with the privacy, in the hands of Apple, I think given the privacy issues that I have with Amazon, I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing how they address it.
I've talked about this in previous podcasts, previous shows, previous years. Apple and Google, when they worked together on the iPhone launch, they released some awesome apps. We had Google Maps, which was outstanding and like revolutionary at the time, and YouTube, which was like one of the best apps ever. And it was a native app before the App Store even existed, right?
Sure.
When Apple works on the front end user experience and Google works on the back end, magical things can happen. So maybe Apple's AI push might actually not be useless. We'll see.
We'll see.
But I think that's what we're going to hear at WWDC, in my opinion, is what AI things are coming to different things. And then maybe some Mac news. I would like to hear some Apple Vision OS news, Vision Pro news. Maybe drag some devs on stage to talk about actually bringing something to the platform. So I'd like to hear something about that, but I'm guessing they're going to focus on AI because they really need to make Siri better. Siri's bad. If Siri was better, I don't know if John returns his Vision Pro, because so much of the problems that exist with that product could be fixed with better voice interface.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
So yeah, let's keep it moving though.
Okay. June
10th. Mark your calendars. WWDC 2024.
Wait.
I guess Shack Pet's invite got lost in the mail. Anyway, I saw a new version of Shack Pets today. It looks great. Next, quickie. We're keeping these quick. I'm actually going to give you 2 delays in one here. Earthblade from Extremely OK Games, the folks who made Celeste, it's been delayed out of the 2024 release date window. Maddie Thorson over there posted a blog explaining what's going on. They just want to make a good game. Might takes a little bit more time. And now the other one is a GTA 6 release date may reportedly slip to 2026. They're claiming that a mandate to bring employees back to the office has not materialized very well, and as a result, they're not going to be able to ship it. This is a rumor. I believe that it was Kotaku first reported it. People inside of Take-Two Interactive, inside of Rockstar, saying that that's why it's slipping. I'm not very surprised.
I mean, if that's whether the rumor's true or not, like, this feels scummy, because now it feels like you've put those workers in the crosshairs of the frothing Twitter user that wants their GTA 6 right now, and now like you've opened them up to harassment and all of that by essentially pointing the finger at them not going back to the office as being the reason why GTA 6 might get delayed. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah, good point.
And also, like, GTA 6 been in development for years. I'm sure part of this period they were working from home. I don't know. It's an interesting story. We don't know if it's true or not, but we're in the era of GTA 6 rumors. So that was a rumor. Thought we should hit it. Another story, kind of not really a delay, but just more about this individual who is developing Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley 1.6 has to be bug-free on all platforms before dev work on Haunted Chocolatier can proceed. So if you're a Stardew Valley fan, that's good news, because Eric Barone, the developer, has committed to making Stardew Valley great before he shifts his focus on the next game. So yeah. And 1.6 added some pretty cool stuff, right, Ozzie? There's like a co-op.
I think Donovan's more of the Stardew Valley player than I am, but I did notice something about mayonnaise. I don't know.
Yeah, you can now drink mayonnaise in the game, and it supports up to 8-player co-op. It supports up to 8-player co-op now. God, I don't recommend drinking mayonnaise to anyone. Folks at home, don't drink mayonnaise. Not a good idea. But we're moving on because these are quickies. Boy, do I have some great news for you guys. F-Zero Maximum Velocity races onto Nintendo Switch Online this week.
Yeah.
Come on. John, this game is 23 years old. Can you believe that?
For GBA, yeah, I remember that. GBA had a great little lineup at the start.
This was one of them, though.
And GBA generally, but that was a launch title. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. Outstanding game. Love the level design. Love the music. There's no Captain Falcon, so for me, that's a bonus. But yeah, what the hell's going on here? This is now multiple F-Zero games that are available on Nintendo Switch Online. That's interesting to me.
Pretty cool.
But wait, there's more. Not a day later, F-Zero 99 gets update version 1.3.0, introducing a whole slew of things. We got mirror tracks. We have a mirror Grand Prix for the Night Cup. We have accessibility features. You know how you may suck at F-Zero? Listeners, people here, whatever. There is now going to be steering assist in the game. You can toggle it on and off by hitting the Y button when you're loading up for a race. They're also adding a classic mini Prix. So if you don't want to go through the 5-race Grand Prix, there's now going to be a 3-race mini Prix for classic mode.
Yes.
And then they're adding mirror tracks. So it's just wild, man. They're supporting a live service F-Zero game and pushing it. And this can't be they're making a new F-Zero. They're making one. There's no reason to do all this.
Announcements happening soon.
There's no reason to do all this. Why would they do any of this? Because they're clearly seeing what people like. They're seeing if there's an appetite. They did it very slowly, right? Here's F-Zero for SNES on Switch Online. Here's F-Zero 64, right? F-Zero X on N64 Online with multiplayer, right? That was the big thing. And now here's F-Zero 99. Now here's Maximum Velocity. It just seems someone over there at Nintendo likes F-Zero. That's my takeaway here. Someone likes F-Zero over there. And I think his name might be Miyamoto. So awesome. By all means, thank you F-Zero 99 devs for another amazing update. I will say that the mirror tracks are creating a problem for me because I was really close to beating Big Blue and now I never see it. It's all mirror. And when new thing is available, everyone, every race you vote for which track, everyone's voting for the mirror track over whatever. So that's annoying. But yeah, not going to complain. More tracks is great. And I can just tell you from playing the game in the last day, every time an update hits, people come back to the game. There's more people playing. So that's great. That's great news.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you. This is the best news you could have. This is it.
It's wild. It's wild. And I said on Twitter, I'm not going to use hashtag revive F-Zero anymore. It's hashtag F-Zero revival. It's happening. We're doing it. And that was the whole Operation Mute City. All 12 of us on Twitter who are still there that aren't bots. But yeah. Some more news. We gotta move on. Quickie, I had to spend a little bit of time on it because I love F-Zero 99. It's my favorite video game on earth ever. Highly recommend you guys pick up and play it. It is now easier than ever if you suck at racing games. So that's the point though, that the steering assist, that's the kind of thing that you test out on a live service game that you can then perfect for a game that you charge $60 for. You know what I mean? So just everything they're doing with F-Zero, it just feels like they're kind of feeling out what people want. And I think we get a new F-Zero before we get Mario Kart 9, because everyone already owns Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. We're going to have backwards compatibility on the next system, yada, yada, yada. We reviewed Snow Day, the South Park game at shacknews.com, and we liked it. We actually liked the game. It's not what people were expecting. It's not an RPG like the other ones. Who reviewed it? Sam Chandler reviewed it for us. He says, great use of the South Park setting. Combat is intense and frenetic. He did say some of the cons where it's a light story. AI squad teams can be stupid, can be frustrating to fail in final sections and have to restart a level. So yeah, there's just usual boring things, but some games don't have to be super deep. And South Park, that IP kind of lends to that. So this looks fun. It's different. And yeah, it's out now. So check it out.
Cool.
Nice.
It got an 8 out of 10 at Shack News. And someone commented on our YouTube video review of it, and they said, how much did South Park pay you? And Greg, trying to be like actual moderator guy, said $0 from the Shack News account. I replied, and I said $3.50.
Yeah, brother.
Because the whole Loch Ness
I actually
Monster.
wonder if that comment was teeing that up.
I was like, $3.50. Don't go off for $3.50.
Very good.
Anyway, speaking of $3.50, another quickie. Sega of America workers ratify the first union contract at a major game company in the United States. So congratulations to Sega workers. Sega
Awesome.
then proceeded to shutter a studio today. Or
They sold the studio.
They sold a studio and they fired 250 people in the process.
They sold Relic, and Relic never felt like it fit in with Sega. Sega's the studio that's known for Sonic, and they got Atlas, and they're known for Persona and all that. They're known for all these Japanese titles, and then you got Relic, which does Dawn of War and Company of Heroes. And it's like that.
But was this tied to that? Like, do you guys think? I mean, this might be naive sounding, like that it might not be tied to it, but these are related stories, kind of, right? Like the unionization,
sure,
and then the shuttering and the laying off. I mean, yeah, Relic might not have been a good fit, but they knew that they were going to fire a ton of people. Coming into this sort of acquisition or this sale. So yeah, like
happened before too. We're seeing it happen in media like a lot. Like IGN ratified their union and now they're facing layoffs.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Are they actually facing more layoffs now? IGN?
Not more. There were 3 people who were laid off a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I saw that.
I will say that Pierre Schneider over at IGN, he did exactly what I said he was going to do. He tweeted a picture of his beer last weekend instead of acknowledging anything that's going on. I worked for that
guy for free for like years. It was really funny. Yeah, I was just a wee tyke and didn't know any better, but that was before social media, so fuck us.
Yeah, but that was also like there was a time where I would be working for one of your websites, John, and like IGN and us we were some of the only outlets at these things.
I know, it was kind of crazy. Such a weird time, man.
So it's strange, but Pierre, maybe say something. Maybe acknowledge your union or address it in any way.
It's a choice.
Every time
it's
he
probably
tweets
a legally driven choice, though. To be fair, like it's probably
every time
legally
he's tweeting a picture of his beer, though, it does seem a little disrespectful to people who are just
absolutely
begging.
Disrespectful. Like if you can't say anything, then maybe just don't say anything. Like just
radio silence. I think would be better than, hey, I'm on the beach with a beer every Saturday.
I would think the paycheck is like the thing to make you just shut the fuck up entirely,
Sure. But because there's people, I think the problem with Pierre is he's a figurehead. The people making decisions financially are above him, and if he disagrees, they're just going to fire him. So
yeah. No, it's not. It's a tough position, but then just dip from Twitter for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's posting.
That's generally good advice, I think, for for most people. Just like take a break.
Man,
it doesn't help anybody.
I approve of this message. We got one last quickie here. Nintendo of America confirms contractor layoffs and full-time employee promotions at testing center. So they're reorganizing their game testing division because they don't have any games coming out this year. Have anyone else noticed? These are people who were working on Tears of the Kingdom and people who were working on Mario and Donkey Kong even more recently. So this doesn't seem to be a layoff per se, more than it is just we don't have any work for contractors. Nintendo does this in a way where it's contract work, so you can't really call it a layoff if they're just contractors and they did the thing they were contracted for, but that's kind of what it is. And game testers deserve more love, so it's good to hear that Nintendo is at least promoting some of them to full-time. But I think we're just in this place now where there's Princess Peach just came out. We're going to have Mario, Paper Mario, and we're going to have Luigi. And that's like it from first party right now. So, a little bit of a reorganization occurring in Nintendo of America. But I have seen some people tweeting about how they lost their jobs, and that's never a fun thing. Nope. So good luck. But I have a feeling if you have Nintendo on your resume, people might want to have you test their game out. So those were the quickies. I have 3 longies before we get out of here. And we don't have to spend too long on this first one, but I think it's kind of interesting. Take-Two Interactive Software to acquire Gearbox Entertainment in a deal valued at $465 million of stock. So Embracer is embracing taking L's because the deal was apparently Gearbox could have made up to 1.5 billion from Embracer if they hit these different targets. It does not appear that they did hit those targets, so the deal was actually closer to like 400 million. So we don't know how it'll play out for Embracer from here, but they're getting rid of another flagship IP. They are keeping some things. Gearbox Publishing San Francisco is going to stay at Embracer and be renamed. I want to say that used to be like THQ Nordic West or something. So they're doing something on that front. More importantly, we're getting a Borderlands 4. They basically confirmed that. And that's not that surprising to anyone, right?
No.
Borderlands. That's good. We should have Borderlands.
Good. Yeah.
You know, we're not getting Tiny Tina's Wonderlands 2 yet, I guess, but we are getting Borderlands.
Wait, aren't we? I thought they said they were working on one.
But this press release kind of said, hey, Borderlands 4. So I don't know how you could work on both of those. They have to do one or the other, would be my guess. But now Take-Two owns the Duke Nukem IP. The Duke Nukem IP for a hot second was under the same umbrella of Embracer. So you had 3D Realms, which is owned by Saber, right? And you had Gearbox, which owned Duke. They were both subsidiaries of Embracer. There was like a hot second where there may have been a Duke Nukem game in development, but I don't know.
And Embracer doesn't have Saber anymore either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So now both of those companies have been emancipated. One is now a subsidiary. One actually freed themselves. But yeah, Embracer, man, kind of highlighting just how Microsoft's model of acquire, it might not work in this industry. But yeah, so I don't know. Anyone have any thoughts on Gearbox getting acquired?
I have questions about like not just like the monetary compensation of all this, but like what does this mean for Gearbox's publishing arm, for example? Like, you know, where our Shack News founder Steve Gibson is currently doing great work right now. Like, I hope that this doesn't adversely affect them any.
Well, that was the thing. Like, they're splitting off Gearbox Publishing that is based in San Francisco, but they didn't say anything about the rest of Gearbox Publishing. So I think Gearbox Publishing has actually been doing pretty well with some of their games that they've released. So I don't know. It's a good question because now there's like multiple publishers underneath the Take-Two umbrella now. It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out over the next few years. The deal won't close for a little bit. So maybe we'll have the FTC show up and say that this is the anti-competitive deal after letting Microsoft buy Activision.
I mean, I'm not too surprised about Borderlands 4 coming, especially because, you know, the Borderlands IP could be running at an all-time high after that movie comes out. Who knows? I mean, maybe the movie will be great. Maybe the movie will do for Borderlands what the Mario movie did for Mario. Who knows? Awesome, you're trying not to laugh.
So I'm just like, I don't like Kevin Hart. I don't like him. Just gonna say.
I mean, I might not like him. The trailer seems good.
It seemed okay. The trailer didn't seem
better
bad.
than I thought it would be. Frankly,
didn't seem that bad. You know, we'll see. I don't know.
We'll see. I'll actually be curious about the reviews.
Yeah, for sure.
It felt like one that I didn't really. I'm not huge into that series at all. Like I tried, I think once, and I'm like, I get it.
Mm-hmm. It's a series where I don't feel a connection to the characters really.
Right. I don't feel a connection to the characters or the series.
I think the gunplay is great, and I think the design of the weapons is cool, and the gameplay loop's kind of fun at times. But
yeah. I could totally appreciate that stuff. It's just like, whereas I wasn't going to care about the movie at all. Yeah, that trailer looks good. So let's see what happens.
I do find it interesting that I never really felt a tie to those Borderlands characters, and yet Tales from the Borderlands is like one of my favorite games ever. That was such a great game. One of Telltale's last great games too.
The Wolf Among Us is right up there too. Sure. I'm going to move on to another longie here, but let's keep this one shorter because fuck this guy. FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried sentenced to 25 years in prison for fraud.
There you go. That's it.
And I hope he burns in hell.
At the risk of dragging this out, Asif, if Trump wins, does he get pardoned?
No.
I think he's done. He's toast
done.
For 25 years.
This guy's done. Absolutely.
Or however long, until he gets off for good behavior or something. But no, he defrauded a lot of people and he screwed up a whole marketplace that's just now recovering, regardless of what you think of the marketplace itself. Just a lot of people lost a lot of money because of his crime. He
did not act as a fiduciary for his clients, and he deserves everything he gets. And he lied repeatedly, and then he stole money, used that money to bribe politicians. Like, just you go into the story, and the more you just start to hate this guy. And he will be the poster child of this bubble. This is the kind of idiot who was able to become a billionaire by scamming people. And that's what this market is like right now. We have a lot of carny snake oil salesmen selling you the world and in reality stealing and hurting people. Yep. So yeah, fuck that guy. Last longie. I just have to bring this up, guys, because I think this is fascinating. Not many people do, and obviously the market didn't care. GameStop reported a profit for the full year 2023.
Wow.
Now, what did it take for them? What did it take for them to get there? How much did they have to sell off?
What do you mean sell off? Like,
or like how much? Like, did they discontinue like GameStop Wallet in the last year?
Yes, GameStop Wallet, the NFT marketplace.
Like, what moves did they have to make to get to this point?
They cut their SG&A budget by a considerable amount. That's selling general and administrative. So that's like, people who work in sales, people who are, whatever. They cut a lot of those. The other thing going on though, Ozzy, is that they're actually making money. They took $300 million. And John, you'll remember this because I brought this up last year with you and kind of spitballing ideas for sustainability of Shack News. He bought $300 million of short-dated treasuries, and the interest that he's getting from those and the capital appreciation he's getting from those treasury holdings is offsetting the losses from operations. But for some reason, they actually made money last quarter because, fourth quarter tends to be better for video games. It wasn't all good. But what I think is interesting here is that they missed revenue expectations. They were expected to have $2 billion in sales for the quarter. They came around 1.78. To miss revenue by $200 million, but still be able to turn a profit is very impressive to me. Because we're talking about a company that last year was hemorrhaging $300 million in a year. They're now making $64.7 million, which isn't a lot, but it's still better. And I
big turnaround.
Yeah, and my whole thing was like, it's not easy to turn a profit in any business, but to take GameStop from where it was 4 years ago to now, I think it's impressive. The market doesn't. The market has sold it off because expectations got too high for the stock. They were expecting $2 billion in sales, they missed. They were expecting 30 cents in earnings, they missed. But to me, like a full year profit, that's like the number one bear thesis, is that they're not going to be able to make money. Maybe this is a scenario where they're going to keep shutting down non-performing stores as they kind of can and financially engineer their way to being a company that has at least cash flows that are break even every quarter. Because if that happens, you can't bet against them. You can't bet. Like, there's no reason to be bullish right now, especially like where we are in the cycle of video games right now. But I think being bearish is also kind of wrong. So I think it's kind of interesting. I was hoping for more creative balance sheet management from Ryan Cohen because they passed this new investment policy last quarter. All he did was buy more treasuries this quarter. I was thinking he was going to do something a little crazier. He didn't. But maybe that's all he has to do, is have enough interest income coming in from treasuries to offset any losses that they may have in weaker quarters. Just interesting. It's not, you don't really want to buy this stock because things are going great in video game retail, but you look at things and you're like, well, I think a lot of people thought they'd be gone, and they're not. So I think that's a fascinating story.
Yeah, no, good turnaround story, and still considered a meme stock. I think that's why it's still.
I hate that term. It's stupid,
yeah.
and I
think you
see
it like with Reddit and with Truth Social. I mean, what does financial news come up with? It's always the correlation of GameStop, and that's kind of that's the kind of bed that was made for them or by them, and I think it's going to be hard to shake off.
I think it's intentionally trivializing what happened on January 28th, 2021, when they shut off the buy button. They didn't do that to Tesla ever during its short squeeze, right? It went from a $2 billion company to a $1 trillion company. How many times did Wall Street shut off the buy button? Never, right? And that was a short squeeze.
Sure.
Why are people, I guess I'm a shareholder who was wronged on that day.
Yeah, I would say so.
Why can't people get it through their heads that this happened to GameStop because of its unique situation? And the CEO at the time, the CFO at the time, they took advantage of the short squeeze and they raised capital and they paid off all their debt. Adam Aaron over there at AMC, they just announced another dilution of shareholders. Another $250 million of shares have been authorized to be in a secondary offering. GameStop only did that once, and they've spent the rest of the time trying to turn it around. Now, they've made bad decisions. The whole NFT marketplace was a bust. The timing of the wallet was terrible, right? So, like, they made some bad decisions. But I think I'm just impressed that they're still here after all that. Like, that NFT marketplace bet, if it didn't work in 2019, let's just say, they're dead. But they were able to take that risk because of the balance sheet that they had. Yeah, I'm more interested in, like, what the hell is the future of this company? You know what really bothers me? The CEO, they have not had a conference call since he took over. That's weird. I don't like that. He only talks once a year at the shareholder meeting, and he's very cagey there. So there's no reason to believe that the turnaround is happening, John, outside of these financial results, right? There's no, if you've been in a GameStop, it doesn't feel that different. If you go look at their website, it's definitely not different. So I wish there was more change. I wish that they were more proactive with what they were going to do with their balance sheet. We'll see. But yeah, Michael Pachter said they're in trouble because the revenue's going down. And I mark your calendars, the one time I've agreed with Michael Pachter. I think revenues are dropping in the video game industry as a whole. And if as a smaller niche video game retailer, I think GameStop is going to be in the crosshairs of that, especially because they went from, what was it, like 80% of their revenue used to be used game sales, like in 2005. They don't even break out what percent of sales it is. And now software isn't even their largest segment. Their largest segment is hardware. And we just kind of mentioned how hardware is not really selling that well. We're in year 8 of Nintendo Switch. We're in year 4 for PS5 and Xbox Series. They sell you Steam Decks. But yeah, I guess the question is, what the hell does GameStop look like going forward? And the CEO not communicating with us is not a helpful thing as a shareholder.
Yeah.
But yeah, get a little bit of praise and a little bit of criticism at the same time here. But I am impressed.
Cautious optimism.
Not even optimistic, honestly, Ozzie. I'm just more. My focus as the person spearheading the coverage of GameStop at our site is to focus on the facts, not try to predict anything. And that's the fact is that they turned a profit last year. And I think that's pretty impressive. Yeah. That was our last longie. We did it. You guys have anything else you want to say about GameStop? No? We're good.
GameStop? No.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
No. Nothing about GameStop. I mean, it's nice to see that it's not a total tire fire.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Joe. Just really quick about GameStop. I do want to wish luck to Game Informer now that they're branching out and selling out physical subscriptions and trying to make it out on their own in spite of GameStop.
I've seen a lot of people in the industry talk about it like they're making it out on their own. I feel like internally, and I have no evidence of this, but I feel like internally they've been given like some kind of metric that they have to hit. And if they don't, they're dead.
Yeah. No, they're gone. I mean, I hate saying that. I'm not saying
I love them.
Yeah, I'm not saying that with any sort of
I love Game Informer and I love their cover art. And like they do amazing work over there still with like a skeleton crew.
This is a favor. This is a favor from one of these exec teams that no exec team on Twitter can do anything right. Fair enough. 99% of the time that's right. And I think with GI, I think it's GameStop like giving them a bit of a chance.
Yeah.
And hoping that the viral, like there's some viral thing that happens where people just sell out that print run. But I think this is just like, this ain't it. That's not a business model. And I love how everybody on Twitter is saying like, business model, this and that and the other. Then you make the fucking business. Like the problem is they couldn't monetize that because the market is different. Mm-hmm. And this is like the Hail Mary, almost literal prayer.
Yeah.
And I hope it works, but I don't know, man.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to pay the 2-year
the $19.91 or whatever. It's $20,
I think it's
right?
$30 for 2 years or whatever. But yeah, like I'm going to do it because I like Game Informer.
I would like to see them at least survive, if nothing else. Maybe not succeed necessarily, but I want to at least see them survive.
I hope they do well, but like it's weird how the crowdsourcing thing, it's not a business model. It's just going to the community to support survival.
Yeah.
And that sucks. And I love it because, I love that the community wants to rally around. It's like Aftermath or whoever the hell, like, it's like, but that is not sustainable because then you're just another one of these subscriptions that's coming up. And now you're just imposing upon the community for like whatever money that they have to support you, not GameStop with its $3 billion market cap. Like, give me a break.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say something about the standalone subscription. I think it's good because there are people out there who hate GameStop and do not want to pay for a PowerUp Rewards membership. And now, if you like Game Informer but you hate GameStop, you're still giving money to GameStop. But at least it's going directly to Game Informer. Supposedly. And this is like,
in a way,
that's
is
how
that fair to say? It's indirectly like show us support by like racking up these numbers. I don't think the money's actually passing through to the staff.
But it's in the arguments that I think are probably happening behind the scenes with the C-suite. They're going to be able to say, we generated this much revenue from our standalone operation. And then here's how much it cost us to do that. So the economics of Game Informer can be judged fairly, as opposed to previous years where they were victims to the ebbs and flows of PowerUp Rewards memberships. I think that's the only good thing here, is that now we get to see what is the demand for Game Informer print. And it's not very high. People don't read print very often anymore. They're like, what, the only gaming magazine left in the United States? And RIP to Next Generation and all those other great ones of the past. But like, this is the part of the GameStop business model that really feels old and archaic. And there's some nostalgia there, but I don't know either, man. I want them to succeed. I want them to, but I worry that this is like a stay of execution, and that's that's unfortunate. But yeah, anyway, Game Informer has a subscription out there if you're interested in it. Shack News has one too. I mentioned in this video that went viral yesterday that, everyone likes to talk about how easy it is to turn a profit. I'm like, I've been running Shack News for 10 years. I haven't turned a profit. It's hard. Got close one time, but it's hard. And especially when you're trying to grow, when you're trying to, do things.
Trying to do different things.
And all the pivots that you've seen our industry do and still do. We're in a really interesting point, and I think I'm glad you brought up Game Informer though, Ozzie, because I do think that it is one of the best things GameStop owns, and I don't think their ownership understands that. So yeah, that's the show. If you have a few questions that you want to send to us, we still don't have an email for our Q&A. But you could reply to our YouTube video. I've seen people doing that. You can reply to the Shack News chatty comment thread when this video goes, or when this podcast goes live. Or you could email me at Shack News. It's asif.khan@shacknews.com. I don't want to spell my name. But put the topic Shack together in the subject so that I will see it. So far, I haven't gotten any emails, Joe.
That's okay. Or you didn't see them because your inbox
it went straight to spam. Google's really bad at that now.
Yeah.
I don't know. We need an email.
Joe, leave the room again.
Together email be?
Joe, can you leave the room one more time?
Oh yeah. Okay, leaving.
Okay, Asif, what do you want to say now? He's out.
We need an email because every week I read this thing and it says try emailing us at something@shacknews.com, and I don't want to read. I'm just trying to do my job here, right?
A freaking producer. Hey, Joe, come on back in.
Okay, I'm back.
What if our email actually was something@shacknews.com?
That might be good. It's actually pretty easy to remember. It's easier to spell than my name too. It's the same characters. Yeah. You know what? Maybe that's the way, Ozzie. This is why we brought you here, Ozzie, because we needed your extensive history and experience throughout the Shack News Extended Podcast universe, or the SIPU as the kids call it. But
yes.
So yeah, that's it. That's going to do it for today's show. Subscribe to Shack Together on your podcast app of choice. We're also on YouTube, so if you just go to youtube.com/shacknews, we will be there as well. Tune in every Friday for more Shack Together. We have been getting these up almost at like midnight on Fridays, so people who are a little bit late night, or if you live on the West Coast, you may be able to enjoy our podcast before you even go to sleep today. So that's pretty cool. We're doing all sorts of stuff at Shack News. Great editorial work going on at the front page. We're writing 50 guides a week. It's no problem. I don't know why anyone was complaining about that. But yeah, no, we don't have 50 guides, but there's a lot of guides. If you're playing Dragon's Dogma 2 right now, we got you covered. Destiny 2 is kind of back in a big way with Into the Light, and we're leading up to the final shape, which is like the last big expansion. So if you need any Destiny guide help, all wishes are sitting there for you. So yeah, check out shacknews.com. We have a social media platform there called Cortex, and we have an RSS reader called Reader that I don't think many people know exists, and I'm a big fan of it. So yeah, that's some of the places you can support us over there. I mentioned youtube.com/shacknews. We also have youtube.com/shacknews interviews. Should be self-explanatory what's over there. We're also on a lot of social media. We're on X still. There's that. We're on TikTok, Shack News, Facebook, our largest platform. A lot of people talking about Elon Musk on our Facebook last week, John. A lot of people.
I saw that. I saw some of the videos on Shack News YouTube.
A million people talking about Elon Musk in our comments. Lots of people. A whole lot of people. Also over on Instagram, we have Instagram /Shack News Media. We're over there. A lot of people talking about Elon over there too.
And to bring it all full circle, people are checking out our Honda Fila shorts over on Instagram.
Absolutely. Ozzie did a great job over there. And yeah, you got some cool footage from GDC as well. Yeah, lots of content going up everywhere. So if you like vertical video content, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, are going to be YouTube Shorts going to be the place to go. If you like longer form video content, YouTube is going to be the place for that. We're on Twitch at Shack News. We've been streaming our Mario Maker streams. We're doing a Mario Maker stream next week. So when this podcast goes live, we will be doing a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe live stream with the staff where we're going to rank all 96 tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So next week, tune in. We're going to be playing the Mario Kart Tour tracks and ranking them. So yeah, that is a large project that we're working on over there. Some other projects, we got bubbletron.com. It's a free game. Doesn't require any accounts. Just go to bubbletron.com, take 3 ideas, combine them, and Bubbletron will tell you what they're valued at for that day. Come back the next day, valuations may be a little different, and the parameters will be different. And then last but not least, Shack Pets. If you have cute animals, you should be using Shack Pets because social media is getting increasingly terrible. So it's like, oh, I follow a bunch of cute animals on Twitter, and then in between the cute animal pictures, it's just, the rest of Twitter. So having a dedicated place where I just want to come here to look at dog and cat pictures, we got you covered. Shack Pets, it's on Google Play and on App Store. So those are the places you can go to support us. Thank you for listening. Obviously, if you can, give us 5 stars on whatever platform you can rate our podcast. And that's it. We did it.
Did it, guys.
Congratulations. Ozzie, it's good to be back on a podcast with you, man. It's been too long.
Yeah, let's do it again soon.
Hell yeah. And that's it. I still don't really have a sign off for this. So this is where we all just kind of wave, even though no one can see us. And we say bye.
Bye. Thanks, Ozzie. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye-bye. I'll never forget you.